Questions?
Got a new old toy to play with this week?
Yeah, definitely good to have him back. Obviously he hadn't done anything in a little bit, so got to evaluate where he's at. But it's just good to have him back in the room.
Jay said you want to get him a lot of reps this week. You want to get him involved. How do you plan on handling that?
I think it just depends on where he's at, to be honest with you. I mean, I've had a lot of discussions with him over the past couple of days. Mentally sharp, but again, he hadn't taken a lot of reps, so we'll see. It'd be naive to think that he doesn't have to knock a little rust off, and so, it's just, I know that, in his situation, it's good to be back. In our situation, it's good to have him back,
Is this comparable to what it's like getting a guy back from injury, or is this a different situation entirely?
I've never really dealt with this specific situation, so it's kind of hard to put it into words and terms. When you get a guy hurt, it's pretty clear cut. He's out for this reason, and so with this deal, it was obviously a different situation. So, just sit back and be patient, really, and hope for the best and pray for the best. And so, I don't know how to answer that, to be honest with you. I wish I did. I've never dealt with it in the past, and hopefully I don't have to deal with it in the future.
What do you know about the work he's kind of put in away from the team?
What do you mean, just staying fit?
Staying fit, stuff like that.
I think that'll show this week, really. Obviously I think that he's been doing things, but it's different when you're doing stuff on your own versus doing stuff in an organized group. It's different, and so we'll see. We'll have to monitor where he's at this week, obviously, and really just give, Jack and him, just dump reps into him and get him ready to play,
Well, really, he's been out. You talk about spring injury, and
Yeah.
you look at the time he's out. It's
But
even
not
more than a normal injury,
Yeah.
maybe. So, does that kind of put a little, maybe make you a little leery about putting him out there too quick at this point?
In practice or in the game?
Either or.
Yeah, in practice, no, because they're not keeping score. We're gonna give him reps and see where he's at. That's just the way practice is, and so. But yeah, we're not gonna put him in the game until he's ready to play. Physically and mentally.
You mentioned mentally he was sharp. Do you think he watched much film? Did you have any conversation?
No, I know he did. Because our film is attainable. He can watch it on his phone, and so I know that he's watched every practice and every game, and so he's been up to date. And we've had I've been in constant communication with him, and so I know what he's doing as far as film study and all that because I've had conversations with him. So, but the other part I don't know.
There was the anticipation then that he was going to be able to get back to you guys, or the hope.
Yeah, the hope. Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't. Honestly, in my situation, because I'm not privy of certain details, then it was just the hope. I was never told 100% that he wasn't, and I never was told 100% that he was.
Yeah.
It was just kind of one of them deals where you move on with the people that are in the room and you make do, and if we get him back, great. But it was the hope, really. Yeah, you worded that right.
What would you say you want to see from him or need to see from him to believe he's ready?
The mechanics of playing the position, really, I think that when you're going out every day and you're repping, you stay sharp. There's a difference between, even me, mentally, I can sit there and tell you, yeah, the ball should go there. I can mentally play the game. Physically, there ain't no damn way I could play the game, And so there is a difference, you got to be able, your cardio level has to be a certain deal because of, the tempo we like to play, and it's just the connection between mind and body have to be there, and typically you get that from just reps. You rep things a certain amount of times, and your body just gets in the habit of making those reps and making those reads and making those throws, and so it's hard. And again, that's a hard question to try to put into words, but ultimately, I think mentally he's pretty sharp. I think physically, we got to see as far as I would be if I had to guess, I would say that the connection would probably be a little off right now, just based on the time he spent off. But I mean, Quadre's a very talented kid too, and so when you deal with people that have certain skill sets, typically they catch up quick. Me, it would probably take me a little time, but him, you never know.
Looking at Rice, are you happy to have the week off after the ULM game with all the, as you said, you saw so many things happen that game weren't good or mistakes? Were you happy to have a
What are
week
you
off?
talking about that wasn't good?
Well, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, but just you said yourself that
I'll
there
tell
was a
you
bunch
this.
of things. Are you happy to have the week off, or did you want to come back and play all
I
night?
don't think it would. Look, me personally, when you lose a game like that, I would rather play the next week, because to me personally, it's been not being able to play that week has probably wore on me more than it has the kids, because I got to go back and relive that every day, and I got to relive it. Probably the wrong word, but fix, just really put it under a microscope and see, where can we get better, where do we get better, and how do we get better. And so to me, I would always, after a loss, want to play the next week. 2 weeks off is tough, really tough. And so personally, I think I would rather have played, but I do think that in the whole, scope of things offensively, it probably did benefit us to take that week and say, okay, we're not preparing for a game on Saturday. Let's really fine-tune the areas we need to fine-tune. And so, hopefully it was beneficial. We'll see. Personally, I would have liked to have played, because it's the only way you get over that feeling is to go play and play well.
New staff at Rice this year defensively, obviously. What do they bring to the table?
Different schematically than last year. I think that goes without saying. New people. I think if you look at what they do offensively, they're a heavy set team. They like to be physical. I think their defense matches that. I think they're pretty physical up front. They do a good job of getting off blocks. They do a good job of slinging you around. You can tell they're strong. They have a good low, just based on probably, I would guess, going against their offense. Their offense has a good low pad level. Their D-line has good low pad level. And so schematically from, the front to back is different. They do a little bit more of getting to different fronts than they did the previous year. Coverages will be a lot of different coverages. There's probably a lot more disguising and moving around in the back end. That's right. Than they probably have been. So.
Are they a blitzing defense? Have you seen them show much pressure bringing an extra guy?
Yeah, they are, and they do it multiple different ways. I mean, they like to zone blitz a good bit, but they will man blitz. I think that if you look at the teams they've played, I mean, Hawaii's a 10 personnel throw at every play team. And so you kind of got a good, you got a good look at 10 personnel. Like Houston's a little bit more 11. Their quarterback is pretty athletic. Prairie View kind of does both, And so, the Hawaii game, they definitely mixed up coverages a lot. That kid really good at throwing the football. They've had some success in the first 2 or 3 weeks. And so they were really all over the place in the back end, trying to probably get him a little off his game, bringing pressure from a lot of different angles, playing a lot of different coverages on the back end. And you could tell versus the Houston game, they were probably a little bit more worried about quarterback run. Defensively, they were a little bit different in that game, but they have played some contrasting styles, Hawaii versus Houston is a little bit different.
Do you think they would show you something different, Jack versus Quadre? Quadre played against them, obviously, a year ago. Do you think they would do anything different?
I don't know. I would think that, preparing for both of those guys would probably be a little bit of different, a little bit different viewpoint from a defense. I couldn't answer that question until we got in there, but that's a good question, though. It really is, because there are differences in the two kids, definitely, and so I think defenses will definitely view that difference and try to defend it a little bit different.
What have you said to Jack with Quadri coming back? Has there been any message to him?
No, I've talked to both of those guys extensively. I've talked to the whole room, and so ultimately, put it this way. We're going to be good teammates, and we're going to, when that deal left off, I mean, right now, Jack's our starter right now. You know, I mean, that's just, I mean, I think Jack's played well the 2 games. Has he made some mistakes? Yes. But he's played well, he's battled. When this competition ended, it ended in a very weird way, you know, and so, you know, I haven't necessarily been in this situation before, and I've been honest with them in that. You know, we got to see how this deal plays out. Ultimately, we got to do what's best for this team to win football games, you know, and so as a group, we're going to be in it together, and whoever's on the field, the other people are going to support 100%. And you're dealing with guys that are wired the right way. You're dealing with guys that care more about this team than they care about themselves. And we're all going to keep that mentality moving forward, and we're going to do whatever it takes to be successful on Saturday. And yes, I have talked to both of those guys, and both of them are, you know, the word I use is simple. You know, the word empathy. You know what the word empathy means?
I probably have a different definition than you.
What's your definition?
Put me on the spot.
You should know this with the
Yeah.
amount of words you write.
Yeah, I would probably say caring for others over yourself.
All right, and I would say being able to put yourself in other people's shoes, right? And so I think the word empathy in this situation is very important. It's very important for Quadre, and it's very important for Jack, and it's very important for myself, because every one of us has to be able to empathize with the other person. Nobody wants to be in the situation Quadre was in. Nobody, you know, Quadre's got to understand the situation Jack was in. Both of them had to understand the situation I'm in, you know, and so as 3 guys sitting here dealing with this situation, I can tell you that all 3 of us are going to have empathy for the other 2 people involved. And we're going to do what's best for those people, and we're going to do what's best for this team. And so, and that's the only honest, fair way I can put it to them, you know, and love them both equally, and really love this team more than I love that, you know, and do what's best for this team. And so, and I do think that those 2 guys are wired the right way. And whatever happens moving forward, I promise you that whoever's on the field, the other guy will support 100%, and there will be no divide.
We're going to speak to Jalen in a moment. Can you
Yeah.
speak to the start Quez and Jalen have gotten off to in these first 2 ball games?
You know, I think both of those guys have worked extremely hard, and they both put themselves in situations to be successful. You know, I think that if you look at, you know, the first game and the second game, you know, both of those guys have been extremely productive. But I will say this too. I mean, there could have been record-breaking production. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to shine a negative light on it, because they have been playing great. But if we just get a little bit over the hump, then those games that are 140-yard games can turn into 300-yard games on their part pretty easily, you know. And we got to do a better job of making those plays when they come about. But I do think that both of those guys have, and I said this in the preseason too, that you never know year to year, especially at the receiver position, who's going to pop his head up. You know, it's funny how everybody kind of panics when you lose a guy that's caught 100 balls, you know. But in my life, you know, there's always a guy that's sitting there waiting, and then when his turn comes, he's ready to go, you know. And so in both of those, and I'd be surprised if we don't have a couple other guys that have really big games week to week too, you know. But obviously those guys are the 2 guys right now that are showing up.
Anything else?
Appreciate it, guys.
All right, man. Be good, coach.
Yeah.